In this video, I will share the most important skill in my experience that a Scrum Master should have and be using every single day. I don't know any successful Scrum Masters who are not experts at this skill. A word of caution though, before we start. This skill is extremely powerful skill. So please use it for good. I'm watching you. Being a Scrum Master is hard. It requires quite a bit of versatility. Being able to understand the Scrum framework, being an expert of the Scrum framework, supporting, serving the development team, teaching Agile throughout the organization, supporting the product owner, coaching, mentoring, teaching, facilitating, but often I see too many Scrum Masters just doing the facilitating part. They just go into events, Scrum events, the daily stand-up, the sprint planning, and they only facilitate. Don't get me wrong, extremely important skill to have, facilitation, but if you're only doing facilitation for the team, you're serving the team only by facilitating, you're not improving, you're not growing, and if you're not growing, you're not being agile. There's a lot of skills that the Scrum Master should have, a lot of soft skills, I would say. And the most important skill, in my personal experience and opinion, is empathy. Let me explain. Empathy is the ability to share and understand the thoughts and feelings of another person. Psychologists Daniel Goleman and Paul Ekman break down this empathy into 3 categories. First, cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what a person feels and what they might be thinking. We are better communicators when using cognitive empathy because we can relay information in a way that other people can understand. Emotional empathy, the ability to share the feelings of another person. This skill helps us build emotional connection with people. Compassionate empathy goes beyond the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. With this skill, we really want to move, take action, and help others. One of the key things that a Scrum Master should be doing is supporting and helping the team in unlocking their potential, in being more engaged, in being more motivated, in building high quality, high value products. The key word here is support and help, not actually doing it. Some people feel and think that we can just force people to be motivated, force people to be engaged. That's so wrong. You can't force someone to be motivated, but you can help them, support them in finding ways to motivate themselves. The Scrum Master should be able to understand and share the feelings of a person, really know how this feeling is affecting them. The key to understanding is putting yourself in the shoes of a person. That's what empathy is all about. And here's why empathy is so important. When you have empathy, people simply trust you more. And when people trust you, you can coach them. They allow you to teach them, to coach them, to mentor them, to help them in becoming more motivated, more engaged, more accountable with each other, and building high quality and high value products. In the very good book Scrum Mastery by Jeff Watts, Jeff writes, Scrum Masters help the team, support the team in developing a talent for listening and empathy. In Agile, in Scrum, conflicts are welcomed. Obviously, there will be conflicts. Every single day there should be conflicts because people have different ideas. When we're working in a complex environment and we are trying to improve, trying to be creative, obviously, when we are free and in an open environment, we will want to share ideas, maybe controversial ideas sometimes, and people will not agree with us, but that's okay. You should show that you're understanding the belief, understanding the feeling, understanding where this person is coming from, the context behind the person's belief and feeling. This will help you really build this emotional connection with this person. And obviously, you will be able to collaborate better. We cannot agree with someone. That's totally fine. That's normal. But we need to really understand the belief, the feeling of the other person. By now, you should be very excited to develop the skill of empathy. So how do you do it? First, we are naturals. People were born with this skill. And believe me or not, I'm one of these people. Since a very young age, even though I wasn't aware what empathy was all about, people always told me that I was a very good listener, that it was so easy to talk to me. I didn't even develop the skill of empathy. People just share stuff with me. Then, years later, when I read about empathy, I realized that I was pretty good at this skill. I realized also that my experience and other people's experiences not the same. I always believed that people were talking and sharing stuff with each other. People were always telling each other that they are good listeners. But no, that's only for people who have this skill of empathy. So how do you develop it? It's like any skills, you can increase it. Tip number 1, pay attention when someone is talking to you. Goes back to what we previously talked about. Listening and empathy linked with each other. I was fortunate enough to work with many people that were very good listeners. When you talk to that person, you feel that they are so focused on you, listening to you, not checking their phones, not working or thinking about something else, really focused on listening to you. And you know what? It's amazing. It's amazing when someone is truly listening to you. Try it. Try it next time you're talking with someone. Give this person 100% of your attention. Really listen to that person. Don't need to think about what you're going to say next or what you're going to share, what experience you're going to share. No, nothing about that. Just truly listen to that person. 100% focus. It's about this person. It's about them, how they feel and why they feel that way. And while you're listening, you can also pay attention to the non-verbal cues like the body language. How does this person feel? How are they stressed? How are they calm? What are they really trying to communicate here? The second tip is sharing. You've listened enough. It's your time to talk now. Sharing can be tricky because it's hard to share stuff. What I like sharing is a story. Not in all situations, but maybe in most situations. I like telling a story that relates to what the person just said, a story that helped me. Maybe a situation that I was in and how I was able to handle this situation that relates to what the person said. But remember, it's not about you. It's about them. You want to build trust there. You want to make them feel that you were listening, that you really share the feelings that they have. You understand them. So don't make it about you. We have a tendency of making this thing about us. Don't make it about you. If you don't have a story, if you don't want to talk, you can just say, oh, that's bad. I don't know how I would have felt in this situation when someone is sharing something with you. You don't need to say something and be an expert and be the perfect one. Don't need to do that. It's about them. Tip number 3, do one-to-one coaching sessions. This one is a super secret. I've talked with many Scrum Masters, and most of them, believe me, they don't do one-to-one coaching with the team. It takes too much time, they say. They prefer doing other stuff. What other stuff? God knows. But one-to-one coaching, I feel that's the best way to really build trust with someone. Use your skill of empathy. Develop your skill of empathy. Really listen to someone. One-to-one coaching. That's what you need, and you need to start doing that. That's a super secret tip that no one is using and that you should be using. And here's a few guidelines when doing one-to-one coaching. You don't need to coach them or teach them stuff. Talk to them like you're talking to a friend. Get to know this person. What kind of sports do they like? What are their hobbies? I don't know anything. It doesn't need to be work related. And when you get to know this person, when you build this emotional connection, first, you're improving your empathy, skill of listening. You're building this connection and you're making this person trust you. And then you can work on coaching, teaching, and trying other stuff with this person. But it all comes down to building this trust. And the number one thing that you can do to build trust is this one-to-one coaching. This shouldn't be an interrogation. You shouldn't be asking questions one after the other. What kind of sports do you like? What do you like eating? No, just act as if you're talking with a friend. And really, the key to doing that is really caring about the other person, really caring about getting to know the other person. And naturally, you'll be able to listen and participate in a conversation like you're talking with a friend. You don't need to force it. Just care about this person. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.